Well, hello everyone. My name is Dar Rath and I'm the pastor at Faith Lutheran Church in Port Elgin, Ontario, Canada. And each week I bring you a story. It takes about 5 minutes to watch. And they're usually interesting stories, things that I read that I find interesting. And the story today is from Flowers in the Wind by Robert Coos. And it's about the end of times. Nobody knows the end of times. Nevertheless, through the ages, there have always been people who refuse to believe that. They are convinced they have special knowledge allowing them to know when the end of the world will come. Sometimes people who believe they know when the end of times will occur continue to believe in this knowledge, even when the date and the time they predicted for the end of the world came and went, and the world continues as always. That is what we see in this very interesting study by the University of Iowa socialist psychologist Leon Festinger and his associates. Their study is called When Prophecy Fails, is important to us for it gives us some insight into the nature of beliefs. Dr. Festinger and colleagues decided to study a group that believed it had special knowledge that the world was coming to an end. Festinger wondered what would happen to this group when their prophecy failed. Dorothy Martin, a Chicago housewife, founded this group. She had experimented with a phenomenon called automatic writing, the idea that certain people can produce writings totally free from their own consciousness. Dorothy Martin studied Dianetics, a movement created by science fiction author L. Ron Hubbard. This movement led to the establishment of the Church of Scientology. Dorothy Martin claimed that she had received a message from a fictional planet called Clarion. The message said that the world would end in a great flood before dawn on December 21, 1954. Fortunately, however, a flying saucer would pick up Dorothy Martin and her followers to save them in time. The group members left their jobs, colleagues, and spouses. They gave away their money and possessions and prepared to board the flying saucer. Well, needless to say, December 21st, 1954 came and went and the world did not end. So what happened to the group and their beliefs? That is what Dr. Festinger wanted to know. He discovered that despite the failure of the prophecy, many people of Dorothy Martin's group continued to believe they had special knowledge of the end of times. Dr. Festinger found that the people whose beliefs were least shaken were people who had shown great commitment to the belief. For example, people who had sold everything were more likely to hold on to their beliefs than people who did not give up anything. Also, people who surrounded themselves exclusively with people who believed as they did were more likely to hold on to their beliefs. We do not know when the end of time will be. That is not for us to know. And when we hear about signs such as war and famine and earthquakes and other things, we shouldn't jump to the conclusion that they indicate the end of the world. We know that such signs have been with us throughout human history. Do you know, I remember at the time when we came to the year 2000, the millennium, that there were all kinds of people predicting that that would be the end of the world. And so I can remember my husband and I sitting up on New Year's Eve waiting for the millennium to happen and wondering if that would be it, if that would be the end of the world. Well, of course it wasn't. And there are other people like Nostradamus. He predicted the end of the world a long time ago, 1800s. So there have been all kinds of people along the way who've actually suggested that the world would be coming to the end. And I found this quite interesting in knowing whether people continued to believe even though it didn't happen. That's what I found quite interesting. And so I guess we just have to wait and see when the end of time will be and if we're a part of it or not. And so thanks for taking 5 and gives you something to think about and blessings on your day. And I'll see you next week for Take 5. Thanks for taking 5 today.